Sanjana dear, you are on mute. Please unmute yourself.
Good morning, namaskar, pranam. It's such a pleasure being here with all of you, and that too such an important and most relevant day. Pleasure being here with you.
Thank you.
And
if you
coincidentally,
we're all set to go ahead.
And coincidentally, today is Dr. Sangeeta Bhatia's anniversary also.
Oh, wow. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
हर इंसान प्यार का है हकदार, सबको मिले समानता का अधिकार। जब कोई मजबूर इंसान नहीं पाता है अधिकार, तब उसका अधिकार दिलाने उठ खड़ा होता है मानवाधिकार। Good morning and a very warm welcome to the present gathering. Today, we all have gathered to celebrate Human Rights Day. I'm extremely honored and feel privileged to have been given this opportunity to address everyone on this auspicious occasion. Our school has a vision of creating globally connected and informed citizens. And what could be a better platform than this to stay connected and express their views and thoughts on such an important day? We have come a long way since our independence. We have given giant leaps in each and every sphere of life, leaving indelible footprints. Our future looks bright, but hold on, just take a moment to reflect. Have we been able to deliver the fruits of success to every section of the society across the globe? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Human rights are the savior for all the downtrodden, underprivileged, and the neglected people. No wonder the United Nations Organization has designated 10th of December as the day to commemorate, educate, and make people aware of the importance of human rights around the world. This year, we celebrate equality as the theme for Human Rights Day. कहते हैं किसी भी शुभ कार्य से पूर्व दीप प्रज्वलन कर परमात्मा का आशीष अवश्य लेना चाहिए, और हम KIIT परिवार के सदस्य भी उसी परंपरा को आगे बढ़ाते हुए दीप प्रज्वलित कर आज के कार्यक्रम के लिए मंगल कामना करते हैं। अब मैं अपने विद्यालय की अनुरोध करूंगी कि वह KIIT परिवार के सदस्यों के साथ दीप प्रज्वलित कर कार्यक्रम का शुभारंभ करें।
आवाज कट करो।
भारतीय परंपरा में गणेश वंदना का विशेष महत्व है और किसी भी कार्यक्रम से पूर्व हम गणेश वंदना कर भगवान गणेश को प्रथम निमंत्रण स्वीकार करने के लिए आग्रह करते हैं और उसी परंपरा का पालन करते हुए अब मैं आप सभी को हमारे विद्यालय की छात्राओं द्वारा एक गणेश वंदना प्रस्तुति दिखाना चाहूंगी।
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौर्याय धीमहि गणेशाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि।
साहस से लड़ने वाला ही मैदान जीतता है। इंसान लाखों दुख सहकर सुख के मोती बीनता है। शिक्षा और पैसा
Recording
ना
in
हो तो
progress.
जीवन में आती हीनता है। इंसान ही इंसान के अधिकार छीनता है। योग्यता को ही अधिकार दिया जाता है। समाज का कल्याण हो सोच लिया जाता है। जब उस अधिकार को चंद रुपयों में खरीद लिया जाता है तब इंसान के द्वारा ही इंसान का अधिकार छीन लिया जाता है। Poetry helps us understand and appreciate the world around us. In fact, poetry is one of the most ancient arts and also the product of human imagination. So now I would like to invite Sukhraj, who is going to recite a self-composed poem based on the present scenario on human rights.
It's such an ironical situation that we are still in online mode. Students are physically not present in school to stay connected with various parts. I think we are on.
फैला हो जब चहुं ओर मदहोश सा एक अंधकार, कैसे कोई बतलाए तुम्हें तुम्हारे मानव अधिकार। कहीं हाथों में है बेड़ियां तो कहीं कोई जुबां का है शिकार। यहाँ फैला हो जब चहुं शान से कहते मदहोश सा एक अंधकार, कैसे हर रोज नए चौराहे ने नए सच से है वाकिफ किया। जीविका का अधिकार है यहाँ, पर आखिर किसने है वो हासिल किया। ठेली लेकर बाजार में जब वो रोजी के लिए चलता है, पहले उसे एक भ्रष्टाचारी दिखता है। जरूरत बदलने की मानव का यह व्यवहार है, जरूरत समझने की हमें हमारे मानव अधिकार। नियम है पर लिखे हैं, जमीन पर उनका कोई अस्तित्व नहीं। आओ हम सुनाए तुम्हें वो घंटी जो सुनाई देती नहीं। आजादी के स्वतंत्र देश में बारूद की है पेटियां, कहीं जल रहे हैं शहर तो कहीं जल रही है बेटियां। मानव व्यवहार की यह कैसी हो रही दरदरी, कहीं भटकती हैं नारियां तो कहीं हो रही मानव तस्करी। दिन बदलेंगे, दौर बदलेंगे, अधिकार भी बदले जाएंगे। तो हमें और उन्हें भी बराबर कर दो ना। मानव को मानव
स्वराज की
अधिकार
कल्पना ने तो
बताकर
जैसे हम सभी से
कागजी बातों
एक आग्रह किया कि हम सभी मिलकर सभी देशवासियों को उनके मानवाधिकारों के लिए जागरूक करें और अन्याय के खिलाफ उठ खड़े हों। And now, so finally, we are here for the most awaited and interesting segment of today's program, that is the expert talk. Our chief guest and expert for the day needs no introduction. She is the woman of substance. A very warm welcome to the very gorgeous, very beautiful Dr. Sanjana Jon. She's a fashion designer, social activist, motivational speaker, and a philanthropist. She received her honorary degree from King's University, USA. Not to miss, she started her career with her brother Anand Jon in New York, and together they created a jewelry line which was highly appreciated. Her acclaimed debut was at Cannes for the film festival. She has also organized events to fight for truth and justice against racism with various models and celebrities, and initiated several promotional campaigns in New York against racism. She is the winner of innumerable awards, including Karamveer Puraskar, Paramveer Award, Indira Gandhi Priyadarshini Award, Dada Saheb Phalke International Film Festival Award, and the list of her achievements is endless. We are grateful to you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. And now the platform is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Suman Bandari, for that wonderful introduction. And, I can't thank you enough. But first and foremost, Pranam, and I thank God for giving me this opportunity to be here with you guys here today, speaking about something very, very close to my heart and something that we all need to be aware of. Thank you, Nilima ji, for thinking of me, because, this is something that, I feel for. A lot of people might talk about it, but human rights and any form of rights is something that actually touches and is a part of my life. I would also like to especially wish a happy anniversary to Sangeeta ji. And I want to start this by mentioning and highlighting Dr. Kamra, because who better than Dr. Kamra to talk about human rights? And as you all know, Dr. Kamra ji is one of the main principles of who got us our human rights and our freedom. So I want to make sure that we acknowledge and credit him before we start our talk and our walk through what we are celebrating today. Human Rights Day is observed, as you all know, on 10th of December. The United Nations General Assembly adopted this in 1948. And we might all wonder why was this important? Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places, close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on the world map, unless these rights have meaning here. They have little meaning anywhere without concerted citizen action to uphold them close to home. We are looking for progress in the larger world. Eleanor Roosevelt, when she said this, I'm sure you're confused what she meant. What she meant is your actual rights start at home. And you have to understand why I am bringing this up. When we talk about human rights and we talk about education, we talk about rights to parliament, we talk about rights to work, equal employment, equal pay, we forget one very important thing. In India, we face something called Kanya Bhrun Hatya, which is female feticide. A girl child is destroyed even as she is in the womb. As a fetus, she is eliminated, because in a lot of states, they feel that the boy child is of more value, and they celebrate with pomp and glory the birth of a boy. And at the same time, when they know it's a girl child, there is something called sex determination, and they curb the birth in the womb or after birth. Immediately after birth, the baby, the girl child, is eliminated. Now, this is something which we have been fighting for, and to make sure that we as a child, we have the right to be born. This is important. So when we talk about human rights and having the value, what value is there if we don't even have the right to be born? So this is where we go to our roots, and we go to somebody very important. That is somebody who won the Nobel Peace Prize, Malala Yousafzai. And I want all of you, I'm sure all of you know about Malala, and I'm sure that you understand how important Malala is to each and every one of us. Because as a young girl, she fought the Taliban in Afghanistan. As you know, we are all witnessing what's happening in Afghanistan again today. That is again one of the most, I would say, clear, apparent atrocity of human rights. What's happening out there to children, women, to people. We are understanding. At that point, Malala fought against the Taliban, took a gunshot wound so that the girls could have the right to education. That is called your fight for human rights. And when we say that we have our rights, yes, because every morning you all have wonderful parents who are waking you up, sending you to the best school, making sure you have the best of everything that you desire. But you forget there are millions and millions in this world who are deprived of a glass of water. Forget education. And again, coming to the right to be born. We see in our life every step of the way the discrimination between caste, creed, color, culture. Do you know how many ways people are discriminated? More than you can ever think of. In schools, you see a child picking on the one who they feel is not as good as them. Stop right there, because that is where your human rights value steps up. You have to realize we are all born equal. We are all born with certain qualities. Some may have more, some may have less, but we have the right to respect. Respect means valuing everybody. He might be a beggar on the street, or he might be a multi-billionaire, but each and every one has the right to respect. In our world today, we see people valuing certain aspects and they devalue if you're not on the same platform, if you're not on the same curve as they think you should be. No, we are all born equal. We have the right to fight to be, even if you are in a cage, a golden cage, it's still a cage. Do you know why? Freedom is
recording stopped.
To us, what's most
Recording in
valuable
progress.
is our freedom. And with our freedom comes our right to value and live a good life. Every time that I travel the world, and it's very interesting, I see people of so many different color, and they have their system in place. And they tell me, oh, by the way, in our country, we value this. True, in their country, they do. But in our country, where we are celebrating, as we all know, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, because we fought for our freedom. I'm sure you all have studied in your history books, or even if you have not, which I'm sure you did, we had to fight for our freedom from the British. And we are here today celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And as you all would have heard, innumerable times, our Honorable Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, is making sure that each and every citizen of our country knows the value of freedom and our right as a citizen of not just this country, as a citizen of this world, to live a good life. And we want to know one thing: the rights of every man, it's diminished when the rights of one is threatened. Do you know the meaning of this? This means that we think if we are free and we have everything, it's okay, we are fine. No. If we see somebody else's rights being threatened, we have to step up and make sure that we are there to fight for their rights. And just by being human, there are things we are allowed to be. We do have immediate access to communication. That's what we are doing today. We are here today communicating with each other. Why are we able to do that? Because we have education. We were taught how to speak. We were taught how to listen and understand what we are here to talk about. But there are lots of children out there who don't have that. They don't even have the access to a school. So this is where we have to, on this very important day, step up and hope we are able to contribute and create a more constructive environment, a community that stands for each other. On World Human Rights Day, as it's celebrated, the UN is, of course, traveling and transgressing to different parts of the world to make sure that they are reaching out. Every time you see that there is an issue, as we are seeing in Afghanistan today, there are forces that step up to help. There are forces that are making sure that the human rights ingredient is instated. But we, as each responsible citizen, each responsible human being, we have to make sure that we do that as well. And every time we think about human rights, please do think about the animals around us, the environment around us. Everything is interconnected. The world today doesn't just integrate humans. We will not be able to survive if we didn't have the environment with us, if we didn't have our coexisting animals with us. So to understand the value of the world, we have to evaluate and know everything goes in balance. We live in a world of balance. And when we know that the world is something that we have to not just value, but we have to take care, nurture. And as a responsible human being, we have to make sure that we all make the world, the environment sustainable. So human rights, when we talk about making sure that everybody has water, everybody has food, everybody has education, well, if you don't have the right environment, how will we have all this? So making the best of the world around us is the responsibility of each and every one. And the reason why, as young adults, which you all are, and you have the best mold out there in school, KIIT World School is providing you with the best form of education to adapt and adopt this world and the people around us. And I want you to realize the value of each other, the value of the environment, the value of people, and most of all, the value of oneself. If you don't value yourself, you will not value anything else. So understanding, going down to your inner self, starting with having the respect for yourself and stepping up to respecting people and everything around you is, to me, what I consider the most important thing in what we are celebrating today. And I hope as we step up to celebrating our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, each one of you should make sure that you are integrating and the part of you that you connect with to make sure that you are stepping up to do that. So we are here. There can be no peace without development, no development without peace, and no lasting peace or sustainable development without respect for human rights and the law. So with this, I hope we are all able to make sure that we make our world a better place, which I know you all will join hands, and with the able guidance of your teachers, please go and involve yourself in making this world a better place. So I don't want to bore you too much. I want you to be more interactive. So let's talk, and I would love to take questions from you at this point. Jai Hind.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening us on such an important topic so beautifully. And now I would like to invite our keen and enthusiastic students from Pitampura and Gurugram branch to ask questions from Dr. Sanjana. Dear students, I'll be taking your names one by one for asking questions. I know you're excited, but please wait for the turn. Tanisha from 6th A. Tanisha.
Yes, good morning, ma'am. It was so nice to meet you. So my question is that how can we make progress in reducing human rights violations as a child?
In reducing human
Rights violations.
Okay. As a child, like I said, you start with yourself. You make sure you respect people around you. If you see somebody doing wrong, you should be the first one to voice that this is wrong. By us keeping quiet to what is wrong, we are actually supporting that wrong. A young child, like I said, Malala, at 11, she was able to do something that, of course, was so powerful. She even took a gunshot for that. Not that I want any of you to do that, no, but we want to make sure that we voice our thoughts. And by voicing it, today we're all connected with social media. You can talk, we can write about it. You can take pictures. Most of you have phones. Take pictures about what you saw and think what you feel should be done to make it right. That's the first thing. The first part, you saw that it was wrong. That itself is something important. 2, you think how that wrong can be corrected. And 3, you voice your opinion. You make sure you discuss it with your friends, with your peers, with your teachers, with your family, and you make sure you involve them. And then you take it to the public, which is through social media, and you say, I saw something which I feel is not right. And we should all stand together to right that wrong.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, love.
Thank you, ma'am. Purbangi from class 11, KIIT Gurugram. Purbangi, class 11.
Good morning, ma'am. My question is to you that how we can aware people about human rights, especially for those people whose rights have been abused, such as they have become homeless or have been sent to prison.
It's a very good question, and it's a very vast question. When we talk about prison rights, it's a topic that we could do an all-day session on, because people think that they are following the law, but the law, as you see, is violated in a lot of ways, and we as again, responsible human beings, the best thing for us to do is make sure that we understand that everything that happens is not always right. Everybody who follows the media, it's a media story, and you basically you already decide in your mind that what has come is what is right. The law has to go by strict protocol of implementation of the rules and regulations which apply, and this doesn't always happen, which is why we see a lot of people who are in prison because of some frivolous thing. It's not just the law, but it's justice that we have to follow. And we have to stand together to, and is a very fine line, which you will understand. A lot of things, when you look at it, you will say, but the law says that is wrong. But is it just? Is it applicable? Does it make sense? And under those circumstances, was it right? This is where we have a just judge to make sure that justice is ensured. So it is interesting that you brought up this topic, and you will see as you go through in life, there will be many instances which could be the right as per principle. But when you go to your conscience, when you go to what is actually a practical condition, you might actually take a decision which is on the contrary. So as young, growing adults, as you go forth in life, go with your heart, go with a clear conscience, go with where you know you're doing, where your conscience is clear and your moral values are where you want it to be. Because I'll give you a small example. When I was growing up, my grandfather used to give me money for my shopping, for my toys, for my books. And I still remember I used to go to school, and there used to be an area where the orphan kids used to be. And I started seeing that I had so many toys. I had so much of everything and more that I wanted. And I saw that these kids never had what I or my friends had. And at that point, I was scared, because I thought if I went and communicated with them, my family would not like it, because I hadn't communicated with my family regarding what I wanted to do. So after a lot of thought, I sat and had a discussion with my grandfather. And I said, I see these kids and I feel so bad, because to tell you, that one conversation with my grandfather is what set the foundation for my life. Because he told me, you can think for yourself and you can do what is right. If you feel that you want to share what you have, you are more than welcome to do that. So what I did from that point till date, I always give whatever I can. I always share what I feel I can with those who don't have as much as I do. And this is what we think and what we want to can come together and make the right thing happen. And a lot of times it's just about communicating. So again, back to your question on the jails and helping them again, we need to make sure that even as a young adult, make sure that we understand the rules, the regulations. Ultimately, what it comes to is making sure doing what is morally, ethically, and with your conscience, with what you know is right. Always follow that path.
Okay. Now, Rishika, you can ask your question.
Thank you so Thank you so much, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. My name is Rishika, and I want to ask that how can we ensure dignity for all human beings?
That is, I wish we could ensure dignity for all human beings. But like I said, here, right now, this is where we start. And thank you, KIIT World School, for bringing this opportunity to each and every student, and of course, us as a part of that. This is where we are starting. Start a campaign, start a movement, all of you together. And like I told you earlier, maybe we cannot go out and change the world, but we can change from where we are. So start with what is around us. It's like they say, charity begins at home, right? So you got to start with making sure. It could be your maid, it could be your maid's children, it could be the kids who are on the street, the laborers' kids. So start working, helping those people. Start with the animals that are around you on the street, feeding them. If there is a spare couple of rotis that you can take from your house to feed them. Start with simple things. Those little things, they snowball into larger things. So charity and a good intention always starts with you at home and in your heart. But implementation of that is what's most important.
Thank you so much.
Pratibha from class 11th, KIIT Gurugram. You can ask your question. Pratibha.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
So
morning.
my question for you is, how do we as a society achieve an appropriate balance between competing rights in online environment?
Can you repeat that, please, Lynn?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, how do we as a society achieve an appropriate balance between the competing rights in an online environment?
Okay. How do we have a balance between competing rights in an online environment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, as we know, you are the privileged few who have the access to online activities. There are millions out there who have no access whatsoever. But the few who do, we are still communicating. We are able to make sure that we are ensuring that our thoughts, views, and whatever we want to is being communicated, right? So when we have that, it's the power. And we have been blessed to have that power to make sure that we can communicate. So whatever your thoughts are, whatever your views are, somebody sitting out here in Gurgaon can actually voice your opinion globally, right? You're one click away from communicating with the world. So when you have something strong enough, when you have something powerful enough, like what we are doing today, why are we here talking about Human Rights Day? Because we know we have been blessed to have our right to fight for our freedom, and we are here enjoying that freedom. But to ensure we have our freedom, do you know how many people sacrifice their lives? How many of our brave soldiers are even today standing at the borders, ensuring we have that right to be free? So we have to acknowledge that. We have to make sure that we use the power we have, which is the internet, what we have, our accessibility of communication with each other, to make sure that we support everybody who is ensuring our freedom and our right to be free. And that's where you and your social media communication can be a powerful tool to make sure that we get our message, not just within our limited society, but globally.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Param Sikri from class 8th.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is, like, why do we talk about human rights and not human responsibilities?
Wonderful question, Param, and I'm so happy you asked that. Very intelligent for somebody your age to be asking that. Yes, our rights and our responsibility go hand in hand. And only if we have the right, sometimes can we fulfill the responsibility. Because in a lot of places, even though we want to, a lot of people might be responsible, but they don't have the right to do those things. Like I was telling you, a lot of young girls, even today in our country, they don't have the right to be born. They don't have the right to education. They don't have a right to making their own decisions. So if they don't have the right, how can they be responsible in doing what they want to do? So it's a very fine balance. And as much as we want to tackle it in a very technical manner and say, well, I want to be right and responsible. No, they both go in unison with each other, because if we don't take our rights in a responsible manner, then it's wasted. It's of no use. But we have to understand, balance, and make sure that we enrich our lives utilizing our rights to make sure that we act responsibly.
Thank
Does
you,
that
ma'am.
answer your question, Bara?
Yes, ma'am.
Roshan from class 9, KIIT Gurugram. Roshan from class 9. Okay, so can we have Jia from class 8?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. I have a question that humanity has gone for a toss these days. So we get to see many animals which are not treated with respect. So should we have some stern measures to protect their rights as well?
Absolutely. I think that was one of the first thing I addressed. I'm a very strong animal rights activist, and as much as I feel that we as humans, we need the right, animals, environment. I mean, we have destroyed Mother Earth, our planet, the wonderful earth we live in with plastic. And even today, you still see people without a second thought throwing plastic and being socially irresponsible. So when we talk about animal rights and human rights and environmental rights, it is all interconnected. Because how can you live a good life if you don't have a good environment to live in? And if you don't, and everything is needed to balance this world. If we don't actually have them, we will not be able to survive properly. We think that in this age of technology, everything can be computerized and technologically advanced in a way that we don't need. No, that's totally wrong. We saw during COVID, the pandemic that actually struck, we saw how important nature was, good living was, healthy living was, and to each and every one of you, those animals who gave us so much support and enriched our lives during the pandemic. So it's a balance. And as much as we want to make sure that our rights are ensured, we as responsible and morally correct young individuals, you should step up and make sure that we fight for their rights. As the earlier one asked me, I think it was Param, who asked me how our responsibility and our rights. So when we have our rights, make sure that we are responsible and rigidly so in ensuring the rights of the environment and the animals that live out there.
Thank you, ma'am. Looking at the prominent clarity with which you are answering the questions, we still have a long list of students to ask questions, but as we also have certain time foundations, so now I would like to invite Dr. Sangeeta Bhatia to extend a vote of thanks to our distinguished guest, Dr. Sanjana Jon.
Thank you so much, Suman, for bringing us all together. We're all in different parts of the city. In fact, intercity, must I say. You connected us all on a common platform to deliberate on issues very, very close to Dr. Sanjana's heart. And she was extremely eloquent in cutting across each of her concerns, observations, suggestions in her style and in most emphatic manner. Thank you, Dr. Sanjana, for being with us once again. And I really admired the way you took all the children close to the purpose for which we're all here. The way you spoke about responsibilities coming as an extension of responsibilities and the other way around was really, really something which I'm sure a lot of children are going to take back as learning of the day. I once again, on behalf of KIIT Gurgaon, KIIT Delhi,
Ma'am, I guess you have gone on mute.
Yeah, I apologize for a small goof up. Am I audible? Am I audible? Thank you. So Dr. Sanjana, we look forward to interact more often, various issues which are very close to your heart. I know you have massive commitments during the day. I know you have to leave immediately and we had to prepone the session. We are cutting short the session, but this session would be incomplete without lending a musical wrap up through rendition by Mr. Nikhil, along with a couple of students. On that note, I request Nikhil's song to culminate today's deliberations and bring this to a fruitful end. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta ji.
Just bear with us because we are in different spaces. All it'll take is less than 30 seconds, Sanjana ji.
And it's of course.
So it's just 2 minutes of rendition. I think you'll be free. I think it's already.
आबुल प्यारे सजन सखारे सुनो मेरी मैया, बोझ नहीं मैं किसी के सर का ना, मझधार में नैया पतवार बनूंगी, लहरों से लड़ूंगी, अरे मुझे क्या बेचेगा रुपया हो, अरे मुझे क्या बेचेगा रुपया। कल बाबा की उंगली को थामी चली थी, कल बाबा की लाठी भी बन जाऊंगी, अम्मा तेरे घरौंदे की चिड़िया हूँ मैं, दाना लेकर ही वापस घर आऊंगी, जिसकी फितरत में हैरत समाई नहीं, जिसको दौलत से ज्यादा मैं भाई नहीं, ऐसे साजन की मुझको जरूरत नहीं, ना कहने का सुन लो मुहूर्त यही, अकेली चलूंगी किस्मत से मिलूंगी, अरे मुझे क्या बेचेगा रुपया हो, अरे मुझे क्या। आबुल प्यारे सजन सखारे सुनो मेरी मैया, बोझ नहीं मैं किसी के सर का ना, मझधार में नैया पतवार बनूंगी, लहरों से लड़ूंगी, अरे मुझे क्या बेचेगा रुपया हो। अरे मुझे क्या बेचेगा रुपया।
On that note, we come to end of today's session. Thank you, everyone. Thank